Clarets TV speaking to Robbie Simpson, Chelmsford manager after our defeat at Spartans this afternoon. Firstly, before we speak about the game, what a great experience for the club to have this unique game in a different country.
Yeah, it's new for them, and first of all, thank you to Spartans. What a setup it is here. Really, really amazing setup, and they're very proud of it, and rightly so, and they've been so welcoming to us. And like you say, a different experience for our lads. We flew up early this morning, got to Heathrow very early, flew up, didn't check into the hotel because rooms weren't ready, so we had to come straight here, grab some food and then play the game. But it's great to experience a different style of football in terms of Scottish football as well. And I think ultimately it's a really good learning curve and good new experience for a lot of people, including Steve, the chairman, and everyone associated with the club, fans travelling abroad to watch their club. It's a really, other than obviously the results disappointing, but it's a really good day for the football club.
Yeah, and it was a bit like Ware. They were a bit more into their pre-season than us, and Spartans are well into their pre-season. This was their 8th friendly, and they start their league on Tuesday. But we started really well in the first half. We dominated really.
Yeah, I thought we were excellent in that first half. Excellent. Like you say, Spartans, it should have been their first league game today, and speaking with their manager, he said they were going to treat it as their first league game, which I was delighted with because it was a proper test. And like I say, first half I thought we were really good. Some exceptional performances. We looked solid. Their goal was probably the one time they even looked threatening to us, I think, and Addy's let him come inside, which he knows he could do better, and he held his hands up. But then there should have been someone inside of Addy, probably maybe me, maybe one of the midfielders to then get tighter and stop the shot. But the lad's taken it really well, toe punt, so he didn't allow Jacob to get set. But I was really pleased with our reaction because up to their goal we did dominate, and their goalkeeper pulled off 3 saves in the first half, one in the second, but I still don't know how he saved them, to be honest with you. I think he was by far and away the man of the match, which kind of says something, especially first half, like I say, point blank from Charlie, point blank from Callum, point blank from Simeon. We stuck at it, I said to them before the game that if we concede, don't concede another. Stay in the game and build your way back in, and that's exactly what we did. I think even though the goal went in, we picked up exactly where we were playing in the first part of that half, and totally deserved the goal, if not more. And it was an exceptional goal. Another throw-in, really good throw-in. Tom Blackwell, who I asked to play 90 minutes today because we were short of bodies. I thought he was exceptional, and the lads have given him a round of applause after today because he really was exceptional, and I'm really pleased for him because he's such a good lad and he works really hard. So he did really well, great cross. Tom Raitt and Charlie kept the ball alive, and then Callum's controlled finish with his left foot was excellent, and I spoke to him before the game about arriving in the box, Lampard-esque, and that's what I wanted him to be, and he did just that, and he had another good day today, Callum. I'm really pleased that he got another goal. Yeah,
but the second half we sort of made 7 changes at half time. They only made 1 because they were sort of treating it a bit more of a proper game, as you said, and brought on a lot of youngsters, but first appearances of the season for Dom Forbes, Evan Payne, Guy Norton.
Yeah, and Simeon. So I wanted Mickey to play 90, but that's his first bit of action so far, and he felt like he was tightening up at half time, so he couldn't come out second half. I actually pulled my groin after about half an hour, and I was umming and ahhing about whether to carry on, but I had to really, because a lot of the players were in there at half time saying they wanted to carry on because they felt like they were playing well and getting a lot out of it. But we've got another game Monday where I want a lot of them to have 60 minutes, and I wouldn't forgive myself if they carried on and got injured, and I'd rather me make maybe an injury a little bit worse than them pick up any sort of niggle. So I stayed on, and I probably should have stayed on for the whole game, but it was good learning curve for those youngsters. I think it was only me and Simeon, I think, in that second half that was over 22. I know we've got some experienced 22-year-olds like Cam and potentially Callum Jones, but yeah, a really, really young side, and they stuck at it. You know, that it's a really good learning curve for them, and I didn't think anyone out afterwards. Obviously, there were mistakes for goals. You know, the first 2 goals were goal kicks that went straight over the top, and they were clean for own goal, and the other 2 were poor goals in terms of defensively as well. But they're young lads, and they stepped up into the first team. They're bound to be nervous. They've had a journey up themselves, these young lads, and you know, it shows what it takes as a young person to be able to step up and play in the first team and play men's football and deal with the physicality. That's one of the reasons why I wanted the reserves to bridge that gap between where they are now, which is evident from the second half, and where they need to get to for me to be able to consider them, you know, for the future. So really good learning curve from them. Obviously disappointing result, and I'm gutted the result the way it did for those young players, really, because I know they might feel a bit down about it, and it was just, I wish I could have stayed on. I wish Mickey could have stayed on, and it seems harsh that I've had to really put those young lads in that situation, like all of them at the same time. So apologies to them, but I really hope that they're not too downhearted and they've learned from it.
Yeah, and we had quite a few first appearances today, and then there was a few players not here, so it's been a bit frustrating. We can't get a sort of full strength 11 out as you would like, maybe. We've still got 5 friendlies to go, I suppose.
That's it. I wouldn't have put a full strength 11 out today anyway. It's about, you know, ideally I would have got another 45 minutes to play 2 11s. But yeah, needs must. You know, Dave's unfortunately had a family bereavement. Chez really unfortunately has to have an operation on a hernia, so he'll be out for some time. And then we've got other, you know, Louis Dunn's isolating, and a couple of other situations that and Anisius is actually injured, but he had to come on and do a job for us, and he actually did really well when he came on. So he showed signs that he could perhaps feature in the future, which is great, even with a sore back that he's got. So it's not an ideal situation, but these are the times we're in, you know, COVID and injuries. You have to adapt, and it is what it is.
Okay, Robbie, thanks for that. Hope you enjoyed the weekend up in Scotland, and we'll see you back in Chelmsford on Monday.
Thanks, Ben.